Oh fuck, I'm in the stool, not the chair. My experience with Gex Enter the Gecko Game Boy. Your eyes do not deceive you. So basically, Gex for the Game Boy. Both games, by the way, are obviously going to be 2D platformers. So essentially, Gex for the Game Boy, they take two 3D games, which I still have not played Gex 3 by the time of this recording, but I did play Gex Cover or Enter the Pocket Gecko or whatever the third game was called, right? I have played both of them just to kind of give them a little try, and as you can tell by the title, they didn't really hold my interest very long. And I'm going to explain why in this little itty bitty 30-minute my experience joint, because we're probably going to do a few of these today, so. But yeah, anyways, so as you can see by the design of Gex in this game, yeah, it looks like he's always giving you the corner eye like every 2 to 3 fucking seconds, man. It's so fucking weird. Like, oh yeah, and also he automatically runs. Like he runs after a little bit of walking, so you don't even have to press a button to kind of hold the run button, which will kind of throw new players off. But the gameplay for Gex still remained the same in terms of like Super Mario 64 has gameplay in terms of like uh doing your objectives and stuff. That hasn't changed, but like all of it is in 2D, which is cool somewhat, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool just watching Gex just do his thing, but like I don't know, man. Something is missing, bro. Like I remember when I immediately played Gex 2 or just Gex for the Game Boy, since this is the first Gex game for the Game Boy. Gex Enter the Gecko is the first one. They didn't make one for the first game of Gex, so they only have two games, but for Game Boy. But yeah, something was missing. Like when I'm running through these levels, right? When you're running through these levels with Gex, the boy Gex, you you have to think about where is those fucking quips? Like Jesus Christ, this is worse than watching a nigga play at Rick James' house. You know, or where is um God, it's worse than Jackie Chan's bathroom. You know, I'm trying not to be so loud so that way like I don't wake up my brother and my dad, because they're both sleeping right now, so that's why I'm kind of trying to keep it low, and so is the gameplay audio if you're wondering. But with all seriousness, I remember playing this, and it's not the absolute worst game I ever played for the Game Boy Advance, or the not the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, like the regular Game Boy, but I felt like not only like in the animations, like the animations were okay, like the sprite animation of Gex, that's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's kind of weird by him just constantly giving us the side eye, him constantly looking at us 24/7, and everything being like 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional is just kind of weird to me. Like it's not even, all that entertaining. In the music, it's okay. I kind of dig the media dimension theme in 8-bit, little with whatever the Game Boy had to offer. But you see, in my opinion, I'm just kind of about this one in comparison to like the regular Gex 2, because you guys know I got burnt out on Gex 2 because I'm kind of not used to doing new platform collectathons right now. I've been doing all sorts of brand new type of games, so like the collectathon platformer kind of was a bit too much for me. But seeing Gex like this in 2-dimensional, doing kind of the same thing but in 2D, it does simplify things a little bit for me. Like instead of having this big ass map you explore, you just have this big map, but like it's all either left or right or up or down pretty much. Those are like how Gex 2 or Gex Enter the Gecko Game Boy Advance kind of, or I keep saying Game Boy Advance, Game Boy handles its gameplay, which, again, it does simplify things for me, but I don't know, just even when you guys play this, I mean, sure, they have all the collectibles, the characters, so on and so on, but like, Gex not talking, he's just a silent protagonist, is so fucking off-putting for me, man. That's why I kind of left this game after a while. Like, I played a few of its levels, and yeah, dude, that's why I left. Like, I didn't even beat the final boss or do any of the bosses in this game. I literally just sat there and was like, let me do a few levels and then let me dip, because I don't think doing this is like super entertaining. You know what I mean? And I said, okay, you know what, then let me go, you know, let's go try Gex 3, you know, for the Game Boy. You know what I mean? Gex 3. I'll put a GBA, right? Or a GB. Yeah, Deep Pocket Gecko. That's what it was called. It's a fucking ad. But anyways, let's talk about Gex Deep Pocket Gecko. So my experience with Gex Deep Pocket Gecko, this is going to be a wild one. And this may be one of the shortest my experience videos I've ever made, because literally it is. We're just talking about Gex's Gameboy games. And like I said, I might do a few of these, so we're not going to be, you know, you guys aren't going to be left out forever. Oh, I just saw Ninja Gaiden down there. That game put me through so much. By the way, check out that my experience. Ninja Gaiden, my experience with Ninja Gaiden. That was a wild one. Anyways, there's always so many fucking credits. But, yeah, so if you don't know who the fuck this chick is like supposedly Gex's girlfriend. Like I said, I still haven't played Gex 3, but I still wanted to give Gex Deep Pocket Gecko a try to see if it was any better than the last game in question. As soon as you get in, it is immediately better. Gex doesn't fucking stare at you 24/7, like, unless you're not moving. Like, it's so much better. Like, the movement feels so much cleaner. Bouncing with Gex's tail, you can see Gex having fall animations. This game was a million times better. But it was still missing Gex's usual banter. And I know you can't put voice acting in a Game Boy game. You know what I mean? You can't really do too much in a Game Boy game. You know, Shantae couldn't do that. And that was one of the last games on the Game Boy. But still, I'm kind of like, it has its usual Gex gameplay that people would like. So it's like, Alex, so then why are you complaining about the gameplay for Gex 3 and 2 for Game Boy if it does what Gex is mainly known for? Like I said, man, he doesn't have that banter with him, and also the level design in these 2D games doesn't really catch my fucking eye, man. And also, running around the main hub in Gex Deep Pocket Gecko kind of pissed me off at points. And I say that because it kind of pissed me off, because trying to navigate around some of these places, even in 2D, kind of pissed me off, especially with the snow world right out the gate, which is also another cool thing, going in those houses by pressing up on the deep highway. Fucking sick. And yeah, I also do like it, you know, Gex obviously being able to change outfits depending on where he's located. That is fucking dope. Alright, that's cool. Can't even lie. But yeah, I was sitting here confused on this world for a while before I went to like the spooky world again and did a little bit there, and just again, just to be frank with y'all, I just didn't, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna see myself come back to any of these Gex games. Sure, Gex Deep Pocket Gecko handled animations better. Gex became way more fluid to play, so on and so on, but like, I don't know, I need a little bit more from my boy Gex, you know what I mean? I need a little bit more from this game before I really start saying some stuff like, ooh, I love this game, and so on, you know what I mean? I still like the ambition, the attempt at putting Gex back in 2D, kind of like Gex 1, but I don't know. In my opinion, kind of like Donkey Kong for the Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 remakes for Game Boy Advance. I kind of personally feel that they should have just made completely original Gex games instead of just following off of 2 and 3. And I think that's another reason why I kind of don't like Gex for the Game Boy, is because you see when Rayman or you see when Donkey Kong had Donkey Kong Land, at least when they made that game, they were actually trying to do something different. With Gex, they're just mimicking the same games. And I know back then, you know, pretty much that's what Game Boy ports were. That's what that's what ports of every video game does. You know, they just mimic the main game so their development time can take a little bit less time, and so on and so on. But I still feel like this game should have at least tried being its own thing completely. You know what I mean? I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I like talking about the same game with different ports sometimes, but like, I don't know, part of me still feels like Gex should have done its own thing with his Game Boy titles. And I know a lot of you are probably just going to be looking at me like, Gex should have done his own thing with his own titles, huh? Okay, Alan. Like, you can make a game. Look, I'm just saying, I know my ass can't make a game, and I have no idea how hard developing these games work, because I don't look at the interviews or so on and so on. But, again, I want to repeat myself. Gex 2, Gex Enter the Gecko, and Gex Deep Pocket Gecko are not bad games. I just kind of wanted them to be more original, and also they're lacking, you know, Gex's most iconic quip, which is his mouth, you know, him making pop culture references and so on and so on. And again, I know you can't do it because it's Game Boy, and the music for both games is pretty alright, but I don't know, just something just doesn't allow me to kind of stick to the game for long periods of time, and then after a long period of time, the game just kind of said, okay, I kind of get the gist of this. Let me kind of move on to the next one, the next game. You know, and so on and so on. You know, again, it's like the gameplay loop problem, you know, that I have when I start thinking about it. But anyways, that's my review / my short but kind of lame experience with Gex Enter the Gex's Game Boy Games. Let me know down below in the comments when this video gets uploaded what you guys think of Gex. And I'm going to live stream again right after this one. We're just going to fucking pump these out, you know what I mean? Because I got a lot of games I still haven't made an episode for yet. So I'm going to be busy today. Anyways, take it easy, y'all.